Looks like these bees have filled up one half of this box already, so I am going to remove this divider bar to give them more room. It doesn't have a screw. Okay. It's just in there tight. All right. Those bees off. Put this under here. So this is a foundationless frame, no plastic foundation for them to build on, and you can see they build out their honeycomb still in a nice neat pattern. That's pretty cool. And this one, it looks like has got honey in it. Can you see that? Yeah. All right. I'm in the process of moving to all foundationless frames, but instead of going all in, I'm alternating open frames with no foundation with frames that have plastic foundation. This has a little bit of wax sprayed on it. Eventually I want to get to all open frames, and probably at some point I will move to top bar hives where there's no frame at all, just the bar on top, because it appears that that is the more natural way of keeping bees, and I'm all about that. Over in this bottom left corner, some of them have larvae. Anyway, the way they organize their hive is at the very center of the hive, or where the queen lays her eggs, and those become larvae and then capped brood, and then they become bees. And then toward the outer edges of the frame and also of the hive is where they keep their nectar, the honey, and the pollen. This really brightly colored capped brood here, and some pollen in the upper left. Tiny amount of capped honey. This is the far outside frame, so this would have been the last one they worked on. Alright, so there's an empty foundationless frame where they're just starting their honeycomb. So now you can see what it looks like when they first start to build it. All right, now we're back at our two oldest hives in the apiary closest to the workshop. These are very healthy hives. I got these from the bee place in San Antonio as nukes, I think 2 years ago. So first we'll check on this one. This hive has shown a lot of bearding in the past few weeks, like a lot of bees on the outside, indicating that they had a lot of bees and they wanted to prevent overheating in the brood chamber. It can also indicate that they're getting ready to swarm, and there's a lack of bees in here. I will know that. This top box is called the Honey Super. there's a screen here that keeps the queen from coming up here and laying eggs, and that ensures that only honey will be collected in this top box. And notice that the top box is thinner than the others. That's because the honey frames are very heavy, and it just makes it easier to handle when you're harvesting the honey. So we'll start the outer frames first. Let's see how they're doing. These have nectar, mostly nectar and a little bit of capped honey. This side is nectar, and this side is a tiny bit of capped honey there at the top. What, maybe 2/3 capped honey, maybe 3/4 capped honey on this side. This is darker honey. So what you're going to notice is that some of the honey's darker and some of it's lighter. Some frames have dark honey, some have light honey, and it just depends on what kind of nectar they used to make the honey. And you can see here is that this is a yellow plastic frame, and then the places where it's bulging out is where the bees have added their wax, and they're following the pattern that's on the plastic frame. Yeah, so this hive has just got uncapped honey, so they're putting honey in those cells. They're not ready to be capped off yet. Either because they're not completely full, or it hasn't dehydrated enough yet. The honey has to lose a certain amount of water content before it's ready. So you bees stay off of the edges, because that's where you'll get squished. And lid goes back on. And we're good to go.